So welcome. Thanks so much for coming to join us in virtual time and space. We had a little Zoom graduation party for my cousin the other day, and in our little Zoom boxes, my aunt asked us all to kind of say something to her, some words of wisdom. I wish I was a little bit more prepared. But then I thought of this poem, because everybody was giving her advice about, do what you love to do, and don't listen to anybody, and you do what you love. And then I kind of remembered this poem. So this is by Hafez. Hafez is a Sufi poet that writes these sort of ecstatic poems of love and devotion to ourself. He refers to God, whatever that means to you, but I just love this poem. It's called A Hard Decree. Last night, God posted on the tavern wall a hard decree for all of love's inmates, which read, "If your heart cannot find a joyful work, the jaws of this world will probably grab hold of your sweet ass." Say that again. If your heart cannot find a joyful work, the jaws of this world will probably grab hold of your sweet ass. So, yeah, it's so cliche. Oh, do what you love, do what you enjoy. And when they're talking about joyful work and this sense of joy, it's not like, oh, I so much enjoy eating ice cream. Like, that's not the joy we're talking about. We're talking about this joy, like, it's the joy I get when I come to teach and I come to connect with all of you, even if it's virtually. There's a joy that resides in my heart. It's like, it's just a feeling of ease and well-being and a feeling of contentment. So to me, I know that's part of my work in the world. And if we follow that, if we really listen and follow what gives us this ease, this peaceful ease. It doesn't mean that our job isn't going to be stressful. It doesn't mean that. But it means, where can we find ease in our work, and where can we find something that's meaningful and provides this sense of joy? And if we don't find it, life is going to grab us by the ass and sort of just, throw us around a bit. So for all of the people that are graduating this year, I think that's a good message of find what brings joy to your heart, what gives you this feeling of peace and ease, and let that guide you. Not even just in your work, but in your everyday life, of how can we find these moments of joy, these things of gratitude, and really finding, again, that ease and contentment. And if we listen to it, it'll help guide us in what are the right next steps for work, for relationship, for whatever it is that's coming up in life. But I just love that, and I think it's a good message for those of us that might have family members or somebody that's graduating and moving on to something new. So thanks for being here. Thanks for listening to the joy in your own heart, because clearly it drew you to practice and to be here and to do a practice of mindfulness. It has some value to you. It gives you some contentment. That's why you're here. So thanks for joining. If you haven't done so already, you can close your eyes and come into your breathing. Just feel your breath as it moves in and out. Find an ease in your breath, so you don't have to force it. You just listen and watch and follow the breath. Please bring your hands together in front of your heart, your palms touching gently. We do this mudra at the beginning of every class when we bring our hands together as a gesture of those inner intentions of our heart. The joy, the peace, the well-being of our heart, we hold it in front of us so that we can know it, so we can feel it, so we can see it, so we can let it guide us. So we hold that in front of us as we sing the sound Om one time together. You're welcome to join in or simply listen. Please exhale completely. Take a full breath in. May the fruits of our practice be for the upliftment of all beings. May all beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. And may all beings know true joy and love and the causes of true joy and love. Thank you so much, friends. You can release your hands and open your eyes. And let's start at hands and knees to begin. So if you want to put something underneath your knees to give them a little padding, please do so. We'll start with some cat-cows. So as you move through the range of motion of your spine, try to connect it with your breathing. So as you inhale, you can move into cow pose, where your chest and your belly move towards the floor. You can look forward towards the front of the mat. And then as you exhale, tuck your imaginary tail under, pull your belly towards your spine, then look in at your belly. And just move back and forth at your own pace, keeping it pain-free range of motion. Enjoying the movement and the breath. If it feels good to make little hip circles, please do so. You can make small circles, and then when you do that, your shoulders kind of circle with it. You can make bigger circles. Move in ways that feel good, and when we listen to our body in this way, we start to kind of tap into that inner place of ourself, that space of joy, of what gives us and brings us joy and a sense of ease. When you're finished your circles, making sure you're even in both directions, you can come back to a neutral position. Cross your left foot behind your right leg, coming onto the ball of the left foot. So my left leg is straight, my right knee still bent. Lift the left shoulder more forward to the front of the mat. I'm looking over my right shoulder and I'm pressing my whole left side of the torso to the left, feeling a stretch. I feel it kind of in my left low back. I feel it even into my left rib cage. Keep your belly nice and strong. Pull your belly towards your spine. And then switch sides. Cross your right foot. Come onto the ball of that right foot. Lift your right shoulder more forward to the front of the mat. You can look over your left shoulder. So I'm looking at my foot behind me. And I feel this in my right low back, my right rib cage. I even feel this one higher up and kind of like underneath my armpit. Side's a bit tighter for me. And then come back to center. Make sure your fingers are spread wide. Your hand is connected to the floor, and then you'll curl your toes under, lift on up for downward facing dog. So this is my first down dog of the day. My calves are super tight. So I'm just gonna walk in place a little bit. If that feels good for you, please do so. Just taking little baby walks, pushing the opposite heel towards the floor. And then even with this, if as you push that opposite heel to the floor, I kind of like to wag my hip side to side. So I push my left hip up to the sky, and then I push my right hip up to the sky. I even kind of spin my toes. So as I spin my toes to the right, I lift my right side of the pelvis up to the sky. As I spin my toes to the left, I press my left pelvis back behind me. And I feel that stretch all along the side of my torso, my low back. I did a lot of work the other day in my backyard. A lot of lifting and bending over, so this feels really good to stretch those sides of my body right now. So just make it feel sweet, make it feel good. Enjoy it. Please come forward into plank pose, top of a push-up. Belly strong. You can always bring your knees to the floor. Lower all the way to the belly, either through bent knees or straight legs. Reach your arms back behind you, palms face down to the floor. Pull your belly in by pushing your pubic bone into the floor and feel your belly draw away from the floor. Then lift your arms up, lift your legs up for locust pose. Draw your shoulder blades down your back. You can look forward slightly, but still look down. Keep tucking your tail under by pushing your pubic bone into the floor. You'll keep your core strong and you'll keep your butt muscles working. As soon as you lose that connection, you might feel compression in your low back. Draw your shoulder blades down your back. Feel the top of the head extend forward as your fingers and toes reach back behind you. Inhale, release down. Press back into downward facing dog, however you'd like to get there. Come forward into plank pose again, top of a push-up. We're gonna go on a little flow of some core work here. You can always bring your knees to the floor. Spin onto your left hand, coming into left side plank. So you can either have your left knee down and your right leg straight, or you can have both legs straight and stagger your feet, or stack your feet. Lots of options. Come forward, front plank. Now we're gonna go to right hand, right foot, side plank. Again, either the right knee can be down, the left leg straight. Stagger your feet or stack your feet. We're gonna go through this a couple times. Front plank, left side plank. Push through your fingertips, claw the ground. Push down with your hand to feel your left side of the torso lift away from the floor. Front plank. Even the transitions, right plank, keep your belly nice and strong. It's like slow motion transitions. Come back, front plank. One more time each direction, left side, side plank. Choose the option that's best for you. Front plank, side plank, front plank. Lower down, either knees first or straight legs. Hands on either side of the chest. Press the tops of your feet down into the floor. Click your pinky toes down. Squeeze an imaginary block between your heels. Draw your shoulder blades down your back, away from your ears. Again, push your pubic bone into the floor and feel how that lifts your belly away from the floor. Inhale, come up, cobra pose. You might lift 2 inches, you might lift 10 inches. Draw your shoulder blades down your back, pull your chest forward like you're pulling yourself through your arms. Push down into your hands. You might not lift up higher, but push down. Inhale, release down, press back into downward facing dog. On an in-breath, step your right foot forward, go wide to the right side of your mat. For lizard pose or groin stretch, so your hands are to the inside of the front foot. You can stay there. You can come onto your elbows, maybe onto blocks, or you might go all the way down to the floor. Push your right heel down into the floor. Pretend like you could pull it back to the back edge of the mat. Feel as if you could draw your left knee forward to the front of the mat. Squeeze your left glute, belly strong. Easy breath. Steady breath. If you're on your elbows, please come back up onto your hands. Option 1, bring your right hand to your hip, twist your chest open, reach your right arm up to the sky. Option 2, take it into a thigh stretch. You're bending your left knee for twisted monkey. Hold your foot with your right hand and then open your chest up to the right. Keep pulling your belly and ribs back towards your spine as you open to the right. Please stay on the center of your left knee. It's very easy to roll the outer edge of it. Stay nice and centered. If you want to come onto your elbow, please do so. Super important to keep your core strong. Pull your belly towards your spine as you open your chest. Shoulders back. Inhale to slowly let go. Press back into downward facing dog. Keep your hands super flat and connected to the floor. Lift your right leg straight up. Bend your right knee and then twist your hips open so you stack your right hip on top of your left. Please pay attention to the left side of your torso. Lift your left armpit forward to the front of the mat. Press your left pelvis back to the back of the mat so that left side stays long as you twist open. Release that right leg down. Second side, left foot goes wide. Lizard pose, right knee back down on the floor. You can stay on your hands. You can come to elbows. You can go to blocks. Feel the stretch in the left groin area. Pretend like you can pull your left heel back to the back edge of the mat and the right knee forward to the front edge of the mat. Feel the muscles around your pelvis engage. Drive your left heel down into the floor. Belly strong. So it's not just about stretching, but we're trying to engage and stabilize the muscles around the pelvis. Steady breath. If you're on your elbows, come back up onto your hands. Left hand to your hip, open your chest to the left. You can stay there, reach the left arm up, or you can bend your back knee, twisted thigh stretch. Grab hold of the foot as you pull the heel towards your butt. Stay centered on your right knee, open up. You're welcome to bring the right elbow to the floor. As you're opening up, whichever option you're doing, please step down into your left heel. Feel your left butt muscle engage. Pull your belly in as you twist open. And then inhale, slowly release. Press back into downward facing dog. Hands are flat. Push into your fingertips. Lift your left leg straight back behind you. Bend your left knee and then open up, three-legged dog. Lift your right armpit forward to the front of the mat. Press your right pelvis back to the back of the mat so you don't crunch the right side of your torso. Keep it long as you twist open, stacking your left hip on top of your right. Inhale, release. Come forward, plank pose. Either lower to your knees first or lower down, straight legs to your belly. Interlace your fingers behind you. If it's hard to do that on your shoulders, please use a strap. Give a little bend in your elbows. Push your pubic bone into the floor. Feel your belly lift. Then lift the fronts of the shoulders away from the floor, coming into bound locust. Lift up, reach your knuckles back, but keep a bend in your elbows. Keep looking down, but look forward slightly. Reach your toes back. Feel your heart go forward as your knuckles and your toes reach back. Draw your shoulder blades down your back, but pull. Feel like you can pull your elbows apart, left to right, but nothing moves. Belly strong. Inhale to release. Press back into downward facing dog. Push your heels towards the floor. Lift your hips up to the sky. On an in-breath, step your right foot forward for half split pose. So your right leg is straight, your hands are on either side of the front leg. Pad your knee if you need to, because we're going to be here for a little bit. Either curl your back toes under or put your foot flat on the floor, but either way, stay active. So you're either pushing your foot like you would for cobra, or your toes are curled under and spreading. Pretend like you can pull your right heel back to the back of the mat and push it down into the floor. So that you're activating your hamstring muscle as you stretch forward, folding over that front leg. If you want more intensity of stretch, you can take your left hand and hold the sole of the ball of the left foot. Push your foot into your hand, and with your hand, pull back into your foot. Deep, steady breathing. Squeeze that right thigh muscle, even as you push the right heel down to the floor. Try to do both at the same time. Walk your hands to the inside of the front foot. So nothing changes in my legs. I keep pulling my right heel back behind me. Then I walk my arms forward, kind of like I'm doing down dog in the arms. I'm reaching, especially through my right arm, reaching forward, but I'm pressing my right pelvis back behind me to feel that big stretch, kind of like we did when we were in down dog and we were in hands and knees, to get that stretch along the right low back and underneath the right arm. If you don't feel a stretch, you can reach your right arm up off the floor and reach it forward. The important thing though is you press that right side of the pelvis back to the back of the mat and down towards the floor. Come back to center. One more. Keep the left hand where it is, under the shoulder, right hand to the hip, or cross your left hand to the outside for a twist. Right hand to your hip. Open your chest to the right. You can stay with your right hand at your hip, or you can reach your right arm up to the sky. It's kind of like twisted triangle, but your back knee's down on the floor. Keep pulling the left or the right pelvis down to the floor, and then lengthen the right side of the torso up to the sky. Inhale, slowly release. Press back in a downward facing dog. Kick your right leg straight back behind you. Again, bend your right knee, twist open. Push through your fingertips
As you twist your three-legged dog open. Squeeze your right butt, lift your right knee high to the sky. Keep that left side long. Inhale, release.
Second side, left foot forward, back knee down. Ardha Hanumanasana or half split pose. Drive your left heel down into the floor and pretend like you go pull it back to the back edge of the mat. Belly strong as you fold forward. Try to lengthen your spine as you fold forward. So it's almost like your heart is reaching for your toes. Squeeze your inner thighs towards each other. Drive that left heel down. If you want to intensify the stretch, take your right hand to the ball of the left foot. Pull with your hand into the ball of the foot and then push the ball of the foot back into the hand. That'll help you draw yourself in. Feels a little too intense for me today, so I'm going to back off. You got to listen. That's what all these poses are for. Listen to your body. Pay attention to it. Feel it. Walk your hands to the inside of the front leg. Don't change anything in the pelvis. Drive that left pelvis down to the floor and back to the back edge of the mat. Now walk your hands away from you like you're doing down dog and reach, especially through your left arm. You can lift that left arm off the floor if you don't feel a stretch. But the key is to really push the left pelvis back to the back edge of the mat and down towards the floor to feel that stretch along the left side of the low back, even underneath the left arm. And of course the left hamstring. Come back to center. Taking it into the twist so the right hand can stay where it is, or cross your right hand to the outside of the left leg. You can always have your hand on a block as well if it's too much to fold that far forward. Put a block underneath your right hand. Twist to the left. Drive the left outer hip down to the floor as you lift your left torso up to the sky. Belly strong, you can reach your left arm up to the sky if you'd like. Inhale to slowly release. Press back in a downward facing dog. Take your left leg straight back behind you. Bend your left knee, twist open. Push your right heel towards the floor and squeeze it in towards the middle edge of the mat. Push down into your hands to lift your hips higher to the sky as you twist open. Stay long on the right side of the torso like I explained last time. That doesn't change. You just layer on all these other things to pay attention to. Inhale, come back to center. Come forward, plank pose. Lower either to your knees or straight legs all the way down to your belly. This time, bend your knees. Squeeze your heels to touch. Bend your arms so you kind of look like a goalpost. Before you go up, push your pubic bone into the floor. Squeeze your butt muscles. Lift the shoulder blade, or lift the front of the shoulders away from the floor and draw your shoulder blades down your back. Then lift your arms up. Some of you might be able to lift your legs up. Squeeze those shoulder blades down your back, like you pull your elbows down. Feel as if you could push the inner edge of the elbow more forward to the floor and the back of your hand more back towards your feet. That's called external rotation of your shoulder. You should feel the back of the shoulder muscles light up. Squeeze those heels, hang in there. And then inhale, release. Press back, downward facing dog. Full stretch. Hips high to the sky. On an in-breath, step your right foot forward. Spin your back heel to the floor. Coming up into side angle pose. So your option is to let that right arm rest on your right thigh. Squeeze your left butt, tuck your imaginary tail to feel that right butt muscle engage. Then reach your left arm alongside the ear. You can bring the hand to the floor inside the foot or to a block. Keep wrapping and tucking your right butt underneath you so that your butt shouldn't be sticking back behind you. Push into your left foot, reach through your left fingertips. Easy breath. Inhale, release your left hand down to the floor. Last time, step back in a down dog. Kick your right leg straight back behind you. Bend your right knee. Twist your hips open. Open up, open up, open up. Really squeeze your right butt to open that knee up. Keep lifting your left armpit forward. A lot of activation in your right glute.
And then inhale, release. Whew. Okay, switch sides. So step your left foot forward, coming into side angle pose. You can let your left elbow rest on your left thigh. Make sure that right glute's super strong. Tuck your left pelvis under. You can bring your hand to the floor to a block, and then reach, sweep your right arm alongside the ear. Keep the core engaged. Try not to put too much weight through that left arm. Inhale, release the arm down to the floor. Step back in a downward facing dog. Kick your left leg straight back behind you. Bend your left knee and twist open. Squeeze your left butt to open like you're trying to kick your foot back behind you more. Squeeze your right heel in. Push into the floor and lift those armpits away from the floor. Stay long through the right side of the torso as you open up. Inhale, release that side down. Come down to hands and knees, child's pose. Toes touch, knees wide. Rest. Collect your breath. All this paying attention to these physical aspects and the breath aspects take us inside of ourselves. So we can listen to that joy that lives inside of us all the time. And we can let it guide us in what we do, every action, every word, the work that we create. We just have to listen. Come back up to hands and knees. Press back in a downward facing dog. Walk your hands back towards your feet, coming into a forward fold position. So spread your toes. Your feet are at least hip distance apart. If you're super tight, you can take your feet wider apart. You can bend your knees. Fold in, allow the top of the head to lengthen towards the floor. Draw your shoulder blades down your back. That'll lift the shoulders away from the ears as you fold forward. So this is an inversion. We're releasing the effects of gravity on our neck and our spine by turning it upside down. Stay heavy in your heels. Push down into your heels to try to engage your butt and your hamstring muscles, even as you're stretching them out. Core is strong, breath is steady. Please give a little bend in your knees. Bring your hands to your hips. Squeeze your elbows so they point up to the sky. Your back is totally straight. And as you inhale, you come up with a flat back. Your shoulders are back, chest is open. Come to face the long edge of the mat. We're going to take triangle pose to half moon pose. And then if some of you in half moon, if you want to take the thigh stretch, which is called Ardha Chandra Chapasana or sugar cane, you can do that. But if you want, you know where you're going. So if you want to get near a wall to be able to use a wall to do the pose, please do so. So let's do right side first. So right toes face the front of the mat. Left foot parallel to the back of the mat. You might want to block to start on the outside of the right foot. Both legs are straight. Squeeze your thigh muscles strong. Start to lean over to the right. Bring your right hand to the block or to the floor that's outside your right leg. Spread your toes, connect down into your feet. Tuck your imaginary tail under so your pelvis rolls underneath you, and that'll light up your right butt muscle more as well as your left. Then it'll allow you to open your chest up towards the sky more. Reach your top arm straight up or keep your hand at your hip. As you breathe into it, you might not need your block anymore. Please stay connected to your big toe and inner heel on the front foot. Push it down into the floor. Just notice where you feel the stretch and the sensation. Please bring your left hand to your hip. Look down at the floor. We're going to shift it forward for half moon. So maybe take a baby hop or 3 hops. If you have your block, please use it. Balancing on the right hand and the right foot. Lifting the left foot to parallel to the floor. Tuck your imaginary tail under. Roll that pelvis underneath you. When you do that, you'll be able to stack your left hip more on top. Belly stays strong. You're welcome to reach the top arm up to the sky. Or even look up, which will challenge your balance even more. Keep a little bend in your right knee. Please don't lock it out. You can stay here if you want to take it into the thigh stretch. Bend your left knee. Hold the foot. This is really hard to do, so if you hold onto a wall instead and don't fold forward so much, it's much easier. Hold the foot. Open up. Try to stack your left hip on top of the right. Squeeze your left butt and then start to kick your foot into your hand. Don't just kick your foot into your hand though. You gotta really squeeze your butt. Slowly release the foot. Bring that left foot to meet the right, forward fold. Again, take the feet a little bit wider if that feels good, or bend your knees and fold in. Draw the shoulder blades down your back, lengthening your neck, feeling that traction along your spine. Please give a little bend in your knees, bring your hands to your hips. Inhale, rise up with a flat back. Okay, second side, you know where we're going. Triangle first. So left toes face the front of the mat, both legs are straight. You might want to block on the outside of the left leg. Start to lean over to the left, bringing the left hand to the outside of the foot. Tuck or wrap your left pelvis underneath you. As you do that, your belly engages, your butt engages, your chest opens, and then you can reach your right arm up to the sky. Okay, bring your right hand to your hip, look down at the floor, give a little bend in your knee, step up into Ardha Chandrasana or half moon pose. Block underneath the left hand makes it much easier. Even put that left hand at the wall. Tuck your pelvis under to open your hips up. So you're stacking your right pelvis on top of the left. You're welcome to reach the top arm straight up to the sky. You can stay here and breathe and steady yourself, or you can come into the thigh stretch, Ardha Chandrasana. Please keep a little bend in your standing leg. Don't just kick your foot back. Squeeze your right butt as you kick your foot back. Belly stays strong as you open your chest. Inhale to slowly release your foot if you haven't, and then come into a forward fold, taking your feet as wide as you need to, bending your knees as much as you need to make it feel okay in your low back and the backs of your legs. Put more weight through your heels as you fold forward. Letting go of the day, letting go of the tension, the tightness around your jaw, around your eyes, the back of the neck. Give a little bend in your knees, bring your hands to your hips. Inhale to rise all the way back up to stand. Take your feet wide apart, face the long edge of the mat. Turn the outer edges of the feet parallel to the sides of the mat. Interlace your fingers behind you. Give a little bend in the elbows, draw the shoulders back. If you need to, you can hold a strap between your hands so your hands are wider apart. If you're okay with interlacing the fingers, keep a little bend in the elbows. Fold forward, extending your head towards the floor, knuckles up to the sky. Again, having that little bend in the knees feels good in the backs of the legs and the low back, so if that feels better for you, please do so. Keep a little bend in your elbows as you reach your knuckles up to the sky. Feel the stretch through the front of the chest. Without actually moving, feel like you could push your elbows apart right to left. That will make it feel more of a stretch in the front of the chest. Nothing actually moves, you're just pretending to pull your elbows apart. Slowly release your hands to the floor. Walk your feet in a little bit closer together. Give a little bend in your knees, hands to your hips, and then inhale to rise all the way up to stand. So I'm going to give you time to play with some kind of inversion. We just did a lot of inversions actually, but some kind of upside down. That might mean downward facing dog, holding that for 5 breaths, taking a child's pose, doing that a couple times. If you do L up the wall, this is where you would sit with your butt up against the wall, your legs straight out from the wall. So you're marking how far you are away from the wall. And then you place your hands where your feet were. You walk up the wall to make an upside down L. And you hold here. Some of you might play with lifting one leg up and then lifting the other leg up. Core stays strong, squeeze that leg in. Those of you that want to go right upside down, you can turn and kick up the wall. Or if you don't need a wall, you can play without the wall. So I'll give you about 3-4 minutes to play with some inversion of your choice. And again, that might mean doing child's pose and doing down dog and then going back into a child's pose. So listen to what's best for your body. Whichever option you're choosing, keep your breathing as steady as possible. It's very hard when you do an inversion and go upside down. Find that nice, steady inhale and exhale. Keep your core strong. Pull your belly towards your spine. Push into your fingertips, whichever option you're doing. Don't just go into the base of the wrist. Push into those fingertips. Claw the floor. Don't let your knuckles lift off the floor. If you're up in some kind of handstand, take a few more breaths. And then come into child's pose. Toes touch, knees hip distance apart, fold forward. So let your heart rate settle, let your breathing rate settle, let your blood pressure settle. So after going upside down, it really circulates new blood, going in all different parts of the body. So you feel that flow, you feel that pumping of your heart. And then inhale to come back up. You're going to come to kneel. So if you need to pad your knees, please do so. If you have blocks, you can grab them and get them ready. If you don't have them, it's okay. Take your left leg out to the side. Left heel is down, left toes point straight up to the sky. If you have blocks, put one on the inside of your left leg and then one to your right. We're going to sort of flow back and forth between the two blocks, and if you don't have blocks, you'll just bring your hand to a floor or some kind of elevated surface. Squeeze your core, squeeze your butt muscles, almost like you're wrapping and tucking your left butt under. Drive your left heel down into the floor as well, squeeze your thigh muscle. A lot of information, a lot of activation, a lot of paying attention to yourself. Start to hinge over, kind of like triangle pose, hinging over that left leg. Bring the left hand to the block or to the floor. Sweep your right arm alongside the ear. Come back up. Take your right hand to the block or to the floor. Sweep your left arm up. So we'll go back and forth. I sort of love this little sequence of flowing side to side. Again, use blocks if it feels better. Maybe you don't need the blocks. Sweep your arms, big circles. As you take the left hand down, reach the right arm up. As you take the right arm down, reach the left arm up. As you bring the right hand down, open your chest more up to the sky. Push into that right hand. Squeeze both your butt muscles and open your chest up to the sky. One more each direction. And then slowly release. Switch sides. Take your right leg out to the right. Line your blocks up. If if you need them. So really important, when we bring the left hand down to the block or to the floor, keep that left shoulder back and push into that left arm just like you would for side plank, okay? So squeeze your right thigh muscle, tuck your right pelvis under, drive your right heel down into the floor. Lean over the right side, right hand to the block or to the floor, sweep the left arm up. Draw your belly in. So when you take your left hand down and reach the right arm up, it's easier to open your chest up. Push into that left hand, drawing your left shoulder blade down your back. Go back and forth at your own pace. You can make those big circles with your arms. But when you bring that left hand down, push into your left hand. Draw your left shoulder blade down your back. As you open your chest up to the sky, think side plank. So you're that strong in that left hand. Open your chest up to the sky. You're going to do one more in each direction. And then inhale, release. We're going to do my favorite thigh stretch at the wall. If you don't have a wall, it's no big deal. You can get some kind of structure to put your foot on. So kind of like I'm doing that right now. You're going to take your left foot forward first and put the right foot at the wall or prop your right foot up like this. And obviously put a blanket right up to the wall to protect your knee. So squeeze your butt that's in the back. You can keep your hands on blocks or on the floor. Once you bring your hands higher up onto that left thigh, the more intense it gets. So breathe. Do an imaginary tuck of your pelvis and feel as if you can move your pelvis forward towards your left foot. Belly stays strong. Only go as far as you can keep your breath steady. Pretend like you can pull the left heel back towards the wall. So engage your left butt. You're welcome to reach your arms up and touch the sky. You can play with doing a little side stretch where you take your left hand to the side and then reach your right arm up and over. So you're feeling a stretch through the front of the right thigh, front of the right hip. Inhale to come up. Switch sides. So now push your foot and your toes into the wall or curled under, or if you have your foot elevated on a surface, it could be on a chair, it could be on blocks. Squeeze your left butt and gently push your pelvis towards your front foot. You can keep your hands on blocks. You can bring your hands to your front thigh. Really feel that sensation through the front of the hip. If your butt starts to stick back behind you, you're losing the stability in your pelvis and you won't feel the stretch as much. So tuck your pelvis under, squeeze your left glute as you gently push your hips forward. Deep breathing. You're welcome to reach your arms up. You're welcome to do the little side bending where you bring your right hand down and then reach your left arm up and over. Again, find the space that feels good for you. And then inhale to come back up. You're going to take your foot off the wall. You're going to come into, well, we're going to do this twice. So we're going to do a side plank-esque type pose. You can keep the blanket down if you want to pad your knees. Let's bring the left hand down first. So when you bring your left hand down for side plank, turn your left fingertips out slightly to the left. You're going to reach your right, we're bringing our left hand down and our right leg is long. Stay here with the left knee down onto the floor. Push down into your hand so you're not just sinking towards the floor. Claw the floor, push into your hand. You can stay right here. Or just like we did before when we were doing the Ardha Chandra Chapasana or sugar cane, you're going to bend your right knee. Reach around to hold the right foot. Before you kick your foot into your hand, squeeze your right butt. pull your belly in, tuck your imaginary tail under, then start to kick the foot back behind you. Push into the floor with that bottom hand, draw your shoulder blade down your back. So baby Kapinjalasana, little bird pose, push your pelvis forward, open your chest up. And then inhale to slowly let go. Okay, second side, right fingertips down, turn your right fingertips slightly to the right side of the mat. So your right knee stays down on the floor. And you can do whatever you want with that right foot, whatever feels like it's stabilizing you. You can curl the toes under or keep the toes flat. Your left leg is long. Push down into your bottom hand, draw your shoulder blade down your back and push into the floor. Belly strong, you can stay right here. Or you can bend your left knee, reach around, hold the outer edge of the foot with the left hand. Squeeze both sides of the pelvis, squeeze your butt muscles and push your pelvis forward. Then start to kick your foot into your hand. You gotta use that left glute, squeeze your left glute as you kick back. Belly stays strong. And then inhale to slowly release. So we're gonna do it again. It's up to you if you want to do exactly what we did, keeping the knee down. If you want to go into full side plank and kick back, just like we did, you can. Then the third option would be to be in the full side plank. I'll show real fast. I'll be in the full side plank. I hold the foot, I kick back, and then I would slowly transition into Wild Thing. You really got to keep this bottom shoulder. It's called external rotation of your shoulder. So keep that shoulder blade back. You want to feel the muscles on the back side of the shoulder, drawing that shoulder blade back and spinning, almost like you're trying to spin the eye of the elbow more forward. Please don't lock out your elbow though. So let's try the left side first. I'm going to walk you through the way we just did it first. So the left knee can stay down. Draw the back of the shoulder. You're drawing external rotation so that the left eye of the elbow starts to spin more forward to the front of the mat. You can bend the top knee coming into what we did earlier, where you kick the foot back. You can be in the full plank, kicking the foot back. The key is that you guys got to squeeze your butt as you kick the foot back. Some of you might just start to naturally open up into Wild Thing. If you're going into Wild Thing, squeeze your butt, push your hips up to the sky, feel those muscles in the back of the right shoulder, externally rotating the shoulder. You can put your left or right hand behind your head. You can put your right hand at your heart and open up. Wild Thing. Whew. Inhale to slowly release. Okay, other side. So now the right hand is down. Turn the right fingertips slightly out. So if you turn in, you're already putting your shoulder in internal rotation. If you turn out, you're starting to go into external rotation. So then as you're in that external rotation, the right knee can be down. Feel those muscles in the back of the shoulder. They're spinning your elbow to point more forward to the front of the mat. You can stay there. You can bend the left knee. Squeeze your left butt, kick your foot back. You could be in the full side plank position. Again, as you kick back, you gotta squeeze your left butt. Don't just kick your foot. Push your right hand down to the floor. Externally rotate that right shoulder. Feel those muscles work in the back of the shoulder. Kick back. Some of you might naturally just go back into Wild Thing. You can push your left hand into your head. One side might be way tighter than the other. Just appreciate and meet that side where it's at. Inhale, slowly flip it back. Press back, child's pose. Whew. Collect your breath. Let your heart rate settle. Feel all the sensations. Feel all the effects of practice. And please press yourself up to hands and knees and come to lay on your back. You're going to do one last back bend. That might mean supported bridge pose, where you put a block underneath the pelvis and just breathe relax. You might choose to do an active bridge pose, which I'll walk you through. If anybody out there really needs to do Urdhva Dhanurasana, it's going to make your life better, then you can place your hands and press up, but I won't walk us through that. I'm going to only walk us through bridge. Again, choose what feels best for your body right now. So for bridge pose, draw your belly muscles in nice and strong. Bend your elbows so your palms face each other. Feet are hip distance apart. Push into your heels as you squeeze your butt muscles to lift your hips up off the floor. You can stay there. You can push your hands into the floor and push down more to lift your hips up higher as long as it's pain-free. You can shimmy your shoulders underneath of you. Hold the mat and try to pull it apart right to left. You can interlace your fingers underneath of you. Lots of options. Do what feels best for your body. Is pain-free. Is a challenge, but feels good. Open your heart towards your chin. Deep breathing. And then slowly lower yourself down. Bring one hand to your heart, one hand to your belly. If you're in supported bridge, you can just stay there. And just feel your breath move in and out. Feel all the sensations in your body. Notice how your mind is right now. Might feel a little bit more spacious and quiet after we did all that paying attention to the physical movements. Somehow you might feel a warmth or an opening in your heart. You just might feel more at ease. Feeling that joy that always exists inside of us. You're going to take your right leg straight up to the sky, interlace your fingers behind your right thigh. Then right knee might be bent a little bit, that's okay. Or the right leg might be all the way straight. Push your right leg into your interlaced fingers. Almost like you're pushing your right thigh away from you. Your core is strong, but you have a little arch in your low back. Just a little space between the floor and your low back. Like a little grape could fit underneath there and you wouldn't crush it. Slowly release that side. Interlace your fingers behind the left leg. The left leg might lift all the way straight or halfway straight. Spread your left toes. And again, try not to just press the back of your low back into the floor. Keep a little tiny space between the floor and your low back, but your core muscles are still strong and engaged. Slowly release that side. Take your feet as wide as the sticky mat. Keep the feet wide, just drop the knees to the right for windshield wipers. If it's okay, you can look over your left shoulder. Your arms can come out to a T. And then come back up to center. Keep your feet wide, drop your knees to the left. You can look over your right shoulder. That's okay on your neck. Inhale back to center. If you have a blanket or a towel or a block or something, put it in between your inner knees. Shift your butt a little bit to the left side of the mat and then drop your knees towards the right, just taking a little bit of a deeper twist. You can hold the outside of the left thigh, drawing your knees across your body. You can look over your left shoulder if that's okay on your neck. You'll just feel a little bit more of a twist in your spine. And inhale to come back up to center. Shift your butt to the right side of your mat and then drop your knees towards the left. And as I drop my knees towards the left, it's a little bit higher up towards my left armpit. Not quite in my armpit, kind of like halfway. You can look over the right shoulder if that feels okay, in your neck. Feeling the sensation of twist in your spine. You can use your left hand to gently draw your legs across from you. And then inhale to come back up to center. If it feels good to hug your knees in towards your chest, take a little rock side to side, taking the knees a little bit wider apart sometimes feels better. If you want to do happy baby, if that feels good in your hips and your low back, you can hold the outer edges of the feet as the soles of the feet point straight up to the sky, and just gently rocking back and forth if that feels good for you. And then when you feel like you have a good stretch in the low back, you can release your legs, let them go long for Shavasana. Totally resting. So after all that work in the physical body, now is the moment to savor and to take it all in. You feel the subtleness of the practice, that something inside of you started to soften and open. Like there's a clearing away of the area in front of your heart. You feel less guarded, less closed off, less agitated. Something is changing inside of you. You're starting to remember and notice the joy that's always there. I'll sing a little chant as you rest into Shavasana. So the repetition of these sounds over and over is just another technique, another practice of mindfulness, of meditation, of opening up our hearts, of remembering who we are. So you're welcome to listen.
Slowly begin to bring your attention to sound and allow your breath to deepen. You can move and stretch in any ways that feel best for you. A hard decree. Last night, God posted on the tavern wall a hard decree for all of love's inmates, which read, if your heart cannot find a joyful work, the jaws of this world will probably grab hold of your sweet ass. When you're ready, you can bend your knees and roll to your right side. May we find joyful work. May we look into our heart and realize what brings about that joyful work. How can we live that joyful work in our words and our actions and in our literal job at work? Use your hands to press yourself back to a seated position, bringing your hands together in front of your heart. I'm so grateful to be in your company, that part of your joys in this practice. I'm so grateful to spend this time with you and to share these teachings. With my whole heart, I thank you for coming. The light that is me bows to and acknowledges the light that is you. Namaste.